She was the kind of person everyone trusted. A pediatric nurse who volunteered at her church, never missed work, and called her parents every Sunday at exactly 7 o'clock. So when Sarah Winters vanished from her small Pennsylvania town without a trace, leaving behind her purse, her car, and a half-empty glass of water on her nightstand, investigators knew something was terribly wrong. What they didn't know was that Sarah had been living a double life, and that the person who killed her had been watching, waiting, and planning her murder for over a year. This is the story of how a beloved small-town nurse disappeared, how an innocent man nearly took the fall, and how detectives finally uncovered a killer hiding in plain sight. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to hear the complete story of Sarah Winters' disappearance, a case that shocked the close-knit community of Millbrook, Pennsylvania, and exposed secrets that no one saw coming. We'll walk through the initial investigation that pointed to a random act of violence. We'll meet the ex-boyfriend who became the town's prime suspect, enduring death threats and having his life destroyed by public opinion. We'll discover the hidden affair that changed everything investigators thought they knew about Sarah's life. And we'll follow the painstaking detective work that finally revealed a killer so calculated, so meticulous, that she nearly got away with a perfect crime. By the end, you'll understand why this case is a chilling reminder that sometimes the people we least suspect are capable of the darkest acts. Spring 2019. Millbrook, Pennsylvania was the embodiment of small-town America. Population 4,200, where Friday night football games drew crowds in the thousands and everyone knew not just their neighbors' names, but their business too. Main Street still had a hardware store that had been family-owned for 3 generations, a diner where the waitresses remembered your usual order, and a town square where farmers sold fresh produce every Saturday morning. In a place like Millbrook, nothing truly terrible was supposed to happen. Sarah Winters seemed destined to be Millbrook's golden girl forever. At 32 years old, she had warm brown eyes that crinkled when she smiled, shoulder-length auburn hair she usually kept in a practical ponytail, and the kind of gentle presence that could calm a screaming toddler in seconds. She'd grown up visiting Millbrook every summer, staying with her grandmother in the blue Cape Cod on Elm Street. After nursing school, when most of her classmates fled to big cities and high-paying hospital systems, Sarah came back to Millbrook. She took a position at Millbrook Medical Center's small pediatric unit, and within a year, she'd become irreplaceable. Sarah wasn't just a nurse. Dr. Patricia Connolly, the head of pediatrics, would later tell investigators. She was the person parents specifically requested when their children were admitted. She remembered birthdays. She sent cards when kids were discharged. One time, I saw her stay 3 hours past her shift just to sit with a scared little boy whose parents couldn't make it to the hospital until late. That's who she was. Beyond the hospital, Sarah was woven into the fabric of Millbrook life. Every other Saturday, you could find her at First Methodist Church, organizing donations for the food pantry. She never missed her book club's monthly meetings, currently reading Where the Crawdads Sing, a fact that would later seem impossibly poignant to those who knew her. She sang in the church choir, though she'd be the first to admit she couldn't really carry a tune. She had coffee every Tuesday morning at Millie's Diner with her best friend, Amanda Richardson, a kindergarten teacher at Millbrook Elementary. Sarah lived alone in her grandmother's house, which she'd inherited 3 years earlier when the old woman passed at 97. She'd lovingly maintained it, keeping the same cream-colored curtains in the living room, the same floral wallpaper in the kitchen. The house was modest but well-kept, with a small fenced yard where she grew tomatoes and basil every summer. Her life appeared simple, predictable, safe. She drove a 2012 silver Honda Civic. She wore practical scrubs to work and comfortable jeans on her days off. She wasn't flashy or dramatic. She was dependable. That's what made her disappearance so shocking. Monday, April 15, 2019. Started like any other day at Millbrook Medical Center. The morning shift began at 7 a.m., and Dr. Connolly arrived at 6:45 to review the patient charts before rounds. She expected to see Sarah already there, as she usually was, going over notes from the night shift and making sure everything was ready for the day ahead. Sarah's locker stood empty, her workspace untouched. At 7:05 a.m., Dr. Connolly called Sarah's cell phone. It rang 5 times. A good sign, Connolly thought, meant the phone was on and charged, before going to voicemail. Sarah's cheerful voice. "Hi, you've reached Sarah Winters. I can't take your call right now, but leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can." By 7:30, with rounds starting and Sarah still absent, concern began to ripple through the small hospital. This wasn't like her. In 9 years at Millbrook Medical, Sarah had never been late. Not once. She'd come to work with the flu, with migraines, even once with a badly sprained ankle because, as she'd said, the kids need someone they trust. Nurses tried her phone every 15 minutes. Nothing. Dr. Connolly called the hospital administrator, who checked with HR. No sick day had been requested. No personal day. No message left on the hospital's after-hours line. At 8:45 a.m., they started calling Sarah's emergency contacts. Her parents in Florida. Her friend Amanda. No one had heard from her. Her father, William Winters, a 70-year-old retired postal worker, said he'd spoken to her the previous evening, their usual Sunday night video call at 7 o'clock. She'd seemed fine, he said. Happy. They'd talked about her mother's garden, about whether they should visit Millbrook for Memorial Day. Nothing unusual. Amanda Richardson, who'd known Sarah since they were both 15, left her classroom in a panic during morning recess. She drove the 12 blocks to Elm Street, her heart pounding, telling herself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe Sarah's phone had died. Maybe she'd had a family emergency and forgot to call the hospital in the chaos. Maybe she was sick in bed and couldn't get to her phone. Maybe. But Amanda had a sick feeling in her stomach that this was something else entirely. She pulled up to the blue Cape Cod at 11:35 a.m. Sarah's silver Honda Civic sat in the driveway, exactly where it should be. The house looked peaceful, normal. The spring flowers Sarah had planted in the front bed were blooming, daffodils and tulips in cheerful yellows and reds. Amanda walked to the front door and knocked. "Sarah, it's me. Are you okay?" Silence. She tried the doorknob. She pulled out her phone and called Sarah again, listening. She could hear the faint sound of ringing coming from inside the house, which meant Sarah's phone was in there somewhere. But Sarah wasn't answering. Amanda walked around to the back of the house, her anxiety mounting with each step. The back door led to Sarah's small kitchen. Amanda peered through the window and saw an ordinary, peaceful scene. Clean counters, a coffee maker, a fruit bowl with bananas going slightly brown. Nothing overturned. No signs of disturbance. She tried the back door handle. Turn. The door was unlocked. "Sarah!" Amanda called, stepping into the kitchen. Her voice echoed through the empty house. "Sarah, are you here?" She walked through the kitchen into the living room. Everything looked normal. The cream-colored couch with its carefully arranged throw pillows, the bookshelf filled with well-worn paperbacks, the framed photos of Sarah with her family and friends. The TV remote sat on the coffee table next to a half-finished crossword puzzle from the Sunday paper. Amanda climbed the stairs, her pulse racing. "Sarah!" The bathroom was empty. The spare bedroom Sarah used as a home office was undisturbed. Her laptop closed on the desk. Sarah's bedroom door stood open. Amanda stepped inside and felt her blood run cold. The bed was made with perfect hospital corners. Sarah always made her bed that way, a habit from nursing school. Her work scrubs for Monday hung on a hook behind the bathroom door, ready for a shift she never made it to. On the nightstand sat a glass of water, half empty, next to Sarah's reading glasses and a novel bookmarked 3/4 through. Her purse sat on the dresser. Amanda opened it with shaking hands and found Sarah's wallet inside. Driver's license, credit cards, $127 in cash. Her car keys hung on the hook by the front door downstairs. Everything Sarah would need to leave the house was still there. Everything except Sarah herself. And her cell phone. At 12:47 p.m., Amanda Richardson called the Millbrook Police Department. "I need to report a missing person," she said, her voice breaking. "My best friend, Sarah Winters. Something's wrong. Something's really wrong." Detective Mark Chen arrived at 421 Elm Street at 1:05 p.m., accompanied by Officer Julie Rodriguez and 2 additional patrol officers. At 45 years old, Chen had been Millbrook's only detective for 5 years, having left a 20-year career with the Philadelphia Police Department seeking a quieter life. He'd handled burglaries, vandalism, the occasional drug case. In 5 years, he'd worked exactly 2 assaults and 0 homicides. Millbrook wasn't that kind of town. Standing in Sarah Winters's kitchen that Monday afternoon, Chen felt the familiar prickling sensation at the back of his neck that he'd learned to trust during his years working homicide in Philadelphia. Something was very wrong here. "Walk me through what you found," he said to Amanda, who stood in the kitchen wringing her hands, mascara streaking down her face. Amanda described arriving at the house, finding Sarah's car, discovering the unlocked back door. "Sarah always locked her doors," Amanda insisted. "Always. She was careful about that. Her grandmother got broken into once, years ago, and Sarah never forgot it." Chen pulled on latex gloves and began a methodical examination of the house. He started in the kitchen, where the unlocked back door bothered him immensely. No signs of forced entry. The door frame was intact, the lock undamaged. Either Sarah had left the door unlocked herself, or someone she knew had come in that way. Or someone with a key. "Who else has keys to this house?" Chen asked. "Just me," Amanda said. "Sarah gave me a spare years ago in case of emergencies. I have it on my keyring at home. And her parents, I think, but they're in Florida." Chen made a note to verify that Amanda's spare key was actually at her house and hadn't been used recently. He had to suspect everyone at this stage, even tearful best friends. The kitchen counter held a few items. A ceramic fruit bowl, a coffee maker that was turned off and cooled to the touch, a paper towel holder, and a heavy marble cutting board. The cutting board struck Chen as odd. It was positioned at an angle on the counter, not quite pushed back against the backsplash like everything else. He photographed it from multiple angles. Moving through the house, Chen noted the orderliness of everything. This wasn't someone who'd left in a hurry or under duress. The bed was made. Dirty clothes were in the hamper. The bathroom sink was wiped clean. If Sarah had been taken by force, she'd been taken by someone who either surprised her completely or someone she'd let into her house willingly. "Tell me about Sarah's relationships," Chen said as he photographed Sarah's bedroom. "Boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, anyone who might want to hurt her." Amanda hesitated and Chen caught it immediately. If this case gripped you, if you found yourself holding your breath wondering what happened to Sarah Winters, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Every week, I bring you real crime investigations like this one, cases that shocked. I'll see you in the next investigation. Stay curious, stay safe, and remember, sometimes the truth is stranger and more disturbing than any fiction.